of you who are listening to the recording, the call will start in 30 seconds. So it is 6 p.m. Pacific time. Good evening, everybody. Good evening and welcome. Welcome and thank you for joining us on this month's call. Love is misunderstood. So how the call works is I'll open. Oh, first of all, I guess I could introduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Thomas Kuster. I am the founder of the Stages of Love, and I'm the thought leader of this particular conversation. And how the call works is I'm going to open by giving you some thoughts, some ideas. Many of those ideas will be my own. Many of those ideas will be ones I've collected. But their intended purpose is to encourage us, each one of us, to generate something new. Something new at home, something new in your own skin, and something new in your relationships. And what will happen is after I generate some of these thoughts, at this moment, by the way, for those of you who don't know, you are muted, so everyone's muted, so no background noise can be heard. And at some point, I will give you an opportunity just to stop and think, and maybe consider what you might want to put into the conversation. And there's nothing off limits. You can share from exactly what we're talking about. You might respond to a request that I have. You may have a request. You may have something you want to bring to the table regarding your own relationship, etc. I want you to feel free, because the more people we can get involved in the conversation, the more life the conversation brings. And there is no expectation, okay? And how you'll share is I'll simply let you know that I'm opening the lines, and you will say your first name, and I'll call on you, okay? So that's how it goes. So let's just start off by seeing if we can agree on a fundamental misunderstanding regarding love. And mostly I'm going to tell you, you're probably not going to like it, even if you in your heart of hearts know that it's a misunderstanding that we have in our culture and that we have ourselves about love. Nonetheless, it needs to be distinguished so we can have the real thing. Love is not an emotion. There's no emotion, not 1 ounce of emotion in love. And there's no love in emotions. I'm just going to say it again, and I just want you to be with not agreeing and not disagreeing, but just be with the possibility, the notion that there is no emotion in love and no love in emotion. In fact, emotion by its very nature moves you and I away from love. So what do you think about that? Now I'm just going to ask you, we're not actually going to share just yet, but I would like for you to take roughly a minute just to consider that not only is love not an emotion, but by its very nature, emotion will move us away from love. Just take a minute and let yourself ponder that. I don't know if I really gave you a moment or not, but I'm hoping that I gave you enough time just to kind of think it through. The meaning of emotion is energy in motion. A motion or a moving away from center. That is, moving away from your inner heart space, an open heart. In fact, you guys, emotion actually creates a drive to close the heart. I think it might be a reaction to feeling too much at one time. One needs practice to keep the heart open while feeling too much or feeling a lot. So if love is not an emotion, what is it? What is it? It's something we all desperately crave and want, and we're convinced that we're not okay unless we have it. But little do we know that we have pictures of what it should look like. And those pictures are mostly generated through movies, songs, TV. We sing about it. We write about it. And it's all driven by counterfeit. So I am going to open the line and give you an opportunity to share whatever's there for you. Take 30 seconds or so right now just to kind of get your thoughts together, and I'll shut up so you can do that. And when you're ready, just say your first name.
You are now unmuted.
And by the way, I just want to check, is my sound okay?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. All right. Thank you. Thank you. So anybody at all, just jump in if you're ready.
Jean.
Yeah, Jean. Good evening.
Hi. I just feel confounded by that thought that love is not an emotion. And you know what comes up? It's just very confounding to me. So I'm super interested.
Well, and right now, you know, I mean, I'm trusting it's okay that I say this, you know, right now you're in love, right?
Yeah.
And as a person who's in love, there are, you know, lots of emotions that you have, right?
Seems like it.
So you could say, Jean, so that you don't have to wipe everything out that you're experiencing, we could say that love is not an emotion, but somehow it does provoke emotion, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Thanks for stepping in and sharing. It'd be very valuable.
It certainly provokes feelings, a lot of feelings.
Yeah, sure.
So,
feelings that eventually lead to emotion. So the distinction feeling is that it's surface and fleeting, and the distinction emotion is that it's deep and lingering. So very good. Thank you, Jean. Somebody else. What's
Ken.
there for you?
Ken.
Yeah, Ken.
Hi.
Good to hear your voice. I'm good.
The way you described it, it appears to me that love is a bond,
Mm-hmm.
and there are emotions associated with love,
Mm-hmm.
or that kind of bond, emotions and feelings associated with it, but not directly correlated to it.
Yeah, very good. That's a good thought. and I'm just going to add something to it. And by the way, whatever I add doesn't make it right, wrong, or anything. These are all great considerations and great ideas. Could it be that the bond we're talking about is not more connected to survival than it is connected to love? Maybe. If you consider a baby has a bond to its parents, to its mother specifically, but is that bond to its mother actually love? And by the same token, the love we have for that child, and there's nobody on the call that has children that would deny their love for their children. But if it wasn't going to cost you anything, if you weren't going to lose anything just to look objectively differently, is that maybe something else that we haven't really distinguished? Nothing for you to do with it, Ken. Just something to throw out in the mix, okay? And thank you for stepping in.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Time for one more. Yes, please.
I am most present to how anger can in fact move me away from love, even if it's a very subtle anger or frustration, or there are a whole slew of emotions that in fact do move me farther away from love.
Yes, yes. And what emotions, if any, Valerie, would you say moves you towards love?
I don't know that it's an emotion, but acceptance and acceptance.
Yeah.
That mainly that. I accept the circumstance as it is, and then can choose to love from that place.
Very good. Got it. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Yeah. No, please go ahead, Valerie. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
I just said, not saying that it's easy, but I can intellectually get to that place.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you for that. I'm going to mute everyone again.
You are now muted.
Okay, so you're currently muted, so there's no background noise. Thank you for those who stepped in. For everybody else who's on the call, I just want to remind you, to the best of your ability, don't multitask while you're on the call. Listen, I'm on calls all the time, so I know how easy it is to get pulled. But the conversation is rich, and it will alter something for you. And your presence alters something for everybody. So thank you for doing that, and whatever it takes. And, of course, we'll include anything because we're just so happy that you're here. So the last thing I said was that we're driven by counterfeit. We're driven to a craving, a hunger for, and a looking for, like a searching for this counterfeit love. However, we're unaware that it's counterfeit. And as Jean and Ken and Valerie shared from their point of view, you can hear that there is a cultural kind of box that we also live in. So I'm going to shift gears a tiny bit, not drastically, but I want you to take a moment. Just take a moment now and get conscious. I want you to get very conscious as to what's going on inside of you right now. If you really want to understand your relationships, and if you really want to understand why you do everything you do. If you want to see what's really going on, then you've got to just observe and experience your inner state right now. And if you're willing to look there objectively, here is what I suggest you'll see. First of all, you are conscious. And you are there, aren't you? Like deep down somewhere, there's a realization that you are in there somewhere, somehow. And from this place, deep inside over there, you are experiencing this world. You're experiencing the physical body. You're experiencing your thoughts. You're experiencing feelings and emotions. And if you keep looking, what you'll also see is that you are never completely at peace. Just look. You are not okay in there. And you're always trying to be okay. Everything you've ever done is in an effort to be okay. At any moment, at an inner state, if you look deeply, there's always something bothering you. Just look. And I'm going to unmute. Take just a few seconds, 30 seconds, whatever you need, and just look. What is bothering you now?
You are now unmuted.
And you're now unmuted. Just take your time. Looking deep inside, what's bothering you now?
Jean.
Yeah, Jean.
Unresolved issues with two of my sisters.
Got it. And let me ask you a question about that, if it's okay.
Of course.
How long, roughly, just roughly, how long has it been unresolved, these issues with your two sisters? Just roughly.
3 months.
About 3 months. And would it be fair to say, Jean, if everybody was going to look objectively and honestly, would it be fair to say that at a deep level, this has been bothering you for those 3 months?
Yes.
And at any given moment of now, if you shifted your awareness to go deep inside where you could look like you just did, you would notice it, experience it, and feel it, and then do everything you could to be distracted from it.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, very good. Thank you, Jean. I appreciate that. So, somebody else?
Andrea.
Yes, Andrea.
So right before the call, one of my daughter's caregivers came in, and my daughter isn't here, but she's going to get started on some food, and she's telling me about the weekend, and I'm listening, and it wasn't my weekend with Lauren. She was at her dad's, but there's some frustration there. So for me, there's what distracts me or what bothers me is situations with my daughter who is disabled, and when you said what bothers you, it's like it seems like I have the same things that bother me.
Yeah, right.
There's just different flavors of it, but the same themes.
Yes.
what bothers me, and they're consistent. So
they are consistent. We call those, in the current workshop that I'm leading, we call those feeling habits. So 2 words, feeling habits. I'm not going to distinguish that tonight, but just take note of it, and there'll be a time when we have other conversations and we can talk a little more about that. But thank you, Andrea. Thank you for stepping in. I got time for one more. All right. I'm going to go ahead and mute you.
You are now muted.
I don't know what that background noise is. I hope that it's not irritating any of you. Maybe it's just me that gets to hear it. It's a little bit of static. So everybody, I'm sure, took the moment and you took a look at your inner state. And I'm sure for everybody on the call, you noticed something. And fundamentally, what I want you to notice is that we really are not okay. We're really not. And one thing that we've always tried to do since the very beginning is we thought love would make us okay. So we went about life looking for this love because we were trying to be okay. And we just knew if we connected with the right one, and if we looked hard enough, and we searched low enough, that we would find this right one that would make us okay. Little did we know that this small self that dominates us, our mind in the matter, if you will, has a picture of how it should be. And that picture of how it should be is associated with the counterfeit, and therefore is counterproductive in our search. But we don't know that because, you see, that mind that I'm talking about, your small self, the ego, maybe you could call it, your identity, well, it has you. Like bait to a fish, you bite. And you're misguided in this conversation, in this search for love. And I am talking about not just people who literally are searching for love. Because, you know, some of you have it. Some of you are looking for it. And some of you, you're in the midst of finding it now, and you find it, or we all found it, let's just say. You're hoping for it. And we're okay. We find it, right? We find it, or we get close, and we're okay. And you say to yourself, I'm okay. You don't even say it out loud. It's like embarrassing. Even as I say it to you now, you feel like a little bit of a chill go up your back, like, gosh, he's right. I'm not okay. But then I connected, and I'm okay. For a minute, then all the hormones subside, and now we go back to not just being not okay, but now we are addressing our beloved as not okay either. And the mind, that ego, that identity, that small self over there that so desperately guided you into how life should be, now includes how they should be. Because, of course, they're not. And then everything that's not okay about them becomes bigger than what was not okay about me, except that I must really not be okay if I've ended up with this person who surely isn't okay. It's a bigger, more intrusive, not okay than it ever was before I fulfilled on the very thing that I thought would be the freaking answer. So there's got to be a huge misunderstanding as we relate to love. Love is clearly misunderstood, especially if you believe in your heart of hearts that it really is the answer. So if you remove all the concepts, if you let go of all the emotions that seem to be connected to love, you let go of the concepts, you let go of the emotions that we mistook for love, what then are you truly left with? Just take a look for yourself. I'm not going to open the lines yet. I want you to stay in this inquiry. If you take away those emotions, take away those concepts, you'd simply be left with a connection to your inner heart where love simply is. Now, I want you just to consider this not as the truth, but as truthful as you can get it in your bones for now. For love to be true, it has to simply be. It has to be connected to an open heart. And you and I trained ourselves many years ago in keeping the heart closed, because open heart is perceived as dangerous. It is interpreted as a threat to the identity that you are. You see, you and I, our relationship to our true self is very shaded. We've had very few moments where we've connected, but we have those moments when you were completely present, when there was a sense of happiness, but the happiness had nothing to do with what was going on. It had everything to do with being aligned with right here, right now, in the present, not pulling from the past or the future. But this experience, this open-heartedness, this love threatens the identity. And the identity immediately, the mind, they're all one, kicks into high gear for survival, but not physical survival. No, it's a misperception. It's an error in our design, because it kicks into survival gear to have the identity survive, the very thing in our way of experiencing true love. Life energy, love energy moves through the heart. And if the heart is closed, it shuts it down, and you can't have it. You see, you can't do love. We can't do it. We can't do love. We can only be love. And in that beingness, love expresses stillness. You can't own it. You can't give it away. The way we talk about it is inaccurate. It can only be lived and therefore expressed. It's expressed in the living of an open heart, in the face of anything. It's energy that's felt, and nothing needs to be added to it. It can only be. Love is the beingness of knowing that you are everything already, that you are whole, complete, with nothing missing. And by the way, that's what it is to love yourself. To love yourself is to be open-hearted in the face of anything. Plato said, the only true love is the divine one. the energy that interconnects every single thing and which connects everything to itself in any and every possible direction. I got to say that again. I mean, I don't know how much Plato you've read, but it intrigued me. Plato said, the only true love is the divine one, the energy that interconnects every single thing. Every single thing, which includes every single one of you and me over here. It connects every single thing and which connects everything to itself in any and every possible direction. You could meditate on that for a week and get a whole new world. And if we accept that love, then that love is the essence of all. It is where we come from. It's who we really are, what we're really made of. Then, and only then, if you can accept that, then you can also see that love is in truth the energy of our true nature, our innate divinity, the stuff God's made of. We've been operating in the counterfeit for so long and not the real deal. It's embedded in our culture. So what is the real deal? Well, I'd like for you to try on and consider the real deal is being open-hearted in the face of anything. Now listen, that should scare you, okay? Because the identity that you are, which, by the way, is not who I'm talking to, but it is who's listening, is very much afraid of you being open-hearted in the face of anything. Because if you are open-hearted in the face of anything, it won't be long before you get yourself. And when you get yourself, your true essence, well, there's no space for the ego. There's no space for the mind. There's no space for the identity. This open-heartedness honors life as love. It honors each other as love. And then who we get to be, you and me, human beings, we get to be a gentle reminder for each other of who we really are. Pure love and life energy. And when I say I love you, what I'm saying is with you, my heart is open. And with me, you can be. And in that open-heartedness, you can trust me with your heart, that most precious part of you. And if you come from this place, you'll find that you can be with anything because it's the real deal. I'm going to open the lines.
You are now unmuted.
And I'd love to hear from any of you. Anything you're present to, anything that's there for you, please share.
This is David.
This is Elizabeth.
Yeah, David, go right ahead.
So, knowing you for years, I know you're very literal on terms, so I'm on the computer looking up the definition of love and emotion, and I'm listening from that space. And I'm comparing it to today's conversation. And my takeaway is just getting present to the challenge that it is to keep present to love. And it's you asked somebody in the call earlier about what has you push away from love or something like that. It really is the emotion.
Yes.
And you had me looking. Brad and I are going on our 21st anniversary come January. And you know the history for us. I took him to dinner in my 9th year to end a relationship. And I got present to being responsible for the condition that distanced me from love during all that. Yeah. And so I see that all there is ongoingly is to presence yourself, like you're saying, to just recognize the space, the emotions you're experiencing, and maintaining or being responsible for maintaining a presence true to the condition of love. Beautiful.
Yeah, I got it. And then what I would offer you as an additional possibility, and one that's much easier, is to start getting very conscious, David, of the condition of your heart. And I do mean this literally. So you want to, like right this moment, if you just close your eyes, and you might remember the Bliss Point exercise that I took people through a couple of years ago. And if you don't worry about it. You can go online and, on my website and pick it up if you want. But the idea is to get heart focused. And I want you to start getting in touch with what it feels like when your heart is open and what it feels like when it's closed. Like really what it feels like. And you'll start to notice things that you don't notice now because we've never been trained to bring our conscious awareness to our heart ongoing. We just haven't. And now I'm offering you that as a new way of life. And what I promise you is a new kind of love. That's what I promise you. Yeah. Thanks for sharing. I really appreciate you being on the call, and thank you for stepping up.
Thank you.
Somebody else. I think I heard somebody, but I didn't catch your name. It was a female.
Antonia.
Elizabeth.
Antonia. And then we'll go to Elizabeth.
Oh, okay. I'm just really, I love what you just recommended, where we are looking to really look in your day-to-day life what it is and what it feels like to have an open heart. And what I can see so far is that there would be stillness and peace, and my identity wouldn't be loud and chattering. It just wouldn't even be there. And most of all, present to those that I'm with. And but it's a great, I think, exercise to get access to what of course a closed heart is, when I want to be, in my judgments, or by myself, or angry, or whatever emotion there is. And I think it's a great way to look at what open heart really is in your own life, ongoing.
Very good. Yes. It's a great exercise, and if you're meditating, you can just bring it to your meditation.
Yeah.
One thing about meditation is that when you start practicing open-heartedness, the meditation will carry you throughout the day. See, right now, those who don't meditate, and I'm not making one thing right or another wrong, I'm just saying it's a particular habit that I recommend to everybody, and it is something that we resist in the beginning for sure. But what you'll find is that you don't have to focus so much on the open-heartedness because you naturally start doing it. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So just bring it to your meditation, Antonia, and see what starts to happen. And thank you for sharing, and thank you for being on the call. It's a joy to have you here.
Thank you.
Elizabeth.
Hi.
Hi, my darling artist.
Thank you. So my first time on this call, and I am taken aback with what you've been saying. Somebody has stepped into my life who asked me on a call before this, when was the last time you held somebody's heart in your hand? And it was a long time ago.
Sure.
And what I'm seeing is, like, in all of this conversation, I'm very drawn to this man. It's like we've known one another for a gazillion years, even though we've only connected in the last month or two.
Yeah.
And And so the noise shows up, the identity, the ego, and it says, well, he's over there, and he has this life, and then, the noise just piles up and piles up. So
sure.
Over time, I can see how I developed a guardedness to making sure that they really did care. And
yes.
That doesn't work at all. So to hear you addressing this, like, it touches me a great deal, Thomas, because it's like,
yes.
It's time, and here you are, and you could open yourself and, throw all, in my younger voice, or maybe my true voice, throwing all care to the wind and letting it just be the way it is.
That's right, yeah. And if you don't, I'm sorry, please.
No, go ahead.
I just wanted to throw in with the guardedness. Now, if this throws you off, you jump back into your conversation because I have mine written down and I can come back to it. But in the guardedness, are you present, Elizabeth, to what it is you're guarding?
I think I'm just throwing this out.
Sure.
I think I'm guarding being peaceful.
Mm-hmm. So right now you consider yourself peaceful, and a relationship might be disruptive to that peace. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think that's accurate. It will.
Right. And do I dare?
Right.
Do I dare?
Well, what it will boil down to really is a fundamental question for you. Am I doing it for the ride that it is because I'm alive? Right? Which means I may have to trade some of my, what I call peace, for it. So like if I were standing in line at Six Flags and I'm going to ride the best ride there, and I know it's my last minute to be there, and I've got $20 left, and it's going to cost me $20, I'd probably pay the $20, right? And if you look at it from that point of view, you might say, well, peace is what I've got right now, and what does peace cost me? Well, peace costs me, not having the intimacy I might want. And by the way, I'm not saying you should any of this. I hope you realize that, right? I'm not just trying to bounce around from different angles. Yeah.
Right.
And so I think the question I would leave you with is, who says that I got to trade in my peace? Now, just as a possibility, and the only reason I say this to you is because you have lived the number of years you've lived, which has earned you the peace you have.
Mm-hmm.
You've practiced and created peace. And I assert, and it's just an assertion, but I think it's an accurate one. I assert that no matter what happens, you will not lose your peace. And the fact that this man asked you, when's the last time you held a heart in your hands, sounds to me like he might be pretty peaceful too.
Yeah.
Don't you think? So
yeah.
There. So, not telling you what to do, don't know, really have no answers whatsoever. The only thing I know for sure is that the word guarded always means my heart is closed. And if my heart is closed, then the life energy, pure love essence is locked up. And nobody has the right to do that. So I invite you to be open-hearted regardless of what it means.
Right. I
Thanks,
heard that,
Elizabeth.
Thomas.
Yeah, it's
Thank
really
you.
awesome. So good to be with you,
Yeah.
and thank you for making the call.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Anybody else?
This is Cheryl.
Yeah, Cheryl.
Hey, hi Thomas. Yeah, boy, that really hit it right there. What I was thinking of is I feel like my heart is so totally open to love with my children, my grandchildren, my friends, and then if it comes to anything that might become a romantic or a physical relationship, it just slams shut. Just fear overtakes, and I really. I do meditate. I've just begun doing that this year, and it is one of the things I meditate about. Having an open heart, and I'm just so stuck on that fear of that physical relationship. You're just terrified of rejection, I would assume, or whatever else it might be. But it's so odd that I'm so open. When it's not physical, when it's my children, grandchildren, friends. I mean, physical in the sense that, of course, you hug them or whatever. But,
like an intimacy, sure.
Like a real intimate, real full-on, intimate, open up all the way relationship. And I'm just, I just keep going over it and over it and over it. And,
Understood.
You become a broken record at some point.
Yeah, it's really boring, isn't it?
It is.
It is. It's boring. Your friends are tired of hearing about it. You're tired of talking to yourself about it, so much so that you probably don't.
Yeah.
But, So here's a question for you to look at with me, okay?
Okay.
If you look at yourself as a whole being, that is, there's this true self over there where you are, your pure essence, right? And then there's this identity that you created from a very young age. And that identity is related to like it's really you, but you know it's not really you.
Right.
I mean, the same essence that you see inside yourself right now is the same essence that you saw when you were 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
There's an essence that each one of us has that if you close your eyes right now and you look inside, you see that essence. You say, yes, that's the same essence I had as a young child. And that essence didn't grow older, nor was it ever young.
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you is, what gets impacted by the rejection?
Happiness.
No.
No?
No. Let me ask the question a different way. You didn't answer wrong. It's just that the question didn't land. My question is, given you're this whole being, a true self, small self, which part of you gets impacted by the rejection? There you go. I said it better that time.
Okay, which part of me is impacted by all of me? I mean, my heart, my just everything's impacted by it. I can't think of anything.
Somebody yell it out.
For true self.
The small self is the only one that can get impacted by rejection.
Got it. Okay. Now,
and it's not who you are. It's what got put up so that your heart would stay closed so that is, the small self, could survive. Listen, you're in the last quadrant of your life. None of us are pretending. Maybe you have a third left. Right? But let's get real.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Totally.
And you're fun, you're beautiful, you're, vibrant. So all of this crap that the small self drives us to can no longer be tolerable. Do you understand?
Yes.
I say anybody over, I used to say over 50, but now I'm going to say anybody over 40 gives up the effing right to maintain the small self any longer. You can no longer tolerate that. You get it? You can't.
Yeah.
It's crap. You've got to bring honor to life. And to bring honor to life unfolding. And what I mean by bringing honor to life unfolding, I'll go back to Elizabeth, is that there's no guarantee. It will go whichever way it goes.
Yeah.
David's at 21 years. He may not make it to 22. Do you understand? There's no guarantees. It's not the way this game has been set up. But if, in fact, what I distinguished with you guys is love, if you can relate to that, that is life energy and that energy that moves through our hearts, that connects everything and everybody, if you can be with that is love, then you have to get that you must honor life unfolding moment by moment by moment, and you can't, this is big, you can't make any of it wrong. And I mean, Cheryl, the worst of it, you can't make it wrong. You have to learn to be open-hearted in the face of anything, which means anything that happens, you have to be willing to feel the energy of it, and sometimes it will be painful. But you feel it, and you let it move through. You do not shut down your heart. You understand me? There's a misinterpretation. The small self has tricked you into thinking that if there's the possibility of getting hurt, you should shut down, and you do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's just gotten worse the last couple of years. It really, you know.
Well, then welcome to listen. Then welcome to the call.
Yeah,
because this is where it ends.
Yeah. Oh, I couldn't wait
This is where it
ends.
is.
I was like so excited about the call. I couldn't wait to get on the call. So.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for being here.
Oh, you know, you've literally given me hope. I mean, really, there's just now I truly feel, you know, there's hope that yes, I understand now. I just kind of needed somebody to say it, you know.
Of course, yes, I do, and I'm glad. Thank you for letting me be the one this time.
Oh, always, Thomas. You always.
Yes.
You always get
Very
me. You
good.
always do. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Cheryl.
Thomas?
We have time for one more.
Thomas,
yes, who is that?
This is Lance.
Yeah, Lance. Hi, Lance.
Hey, you know what the hardest part about this conversation is? It means that I have to give up control, and I hate that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, give up control. Absolutely.
That's the worst part for me.
Yes, and you know, really, Lance, what it really is letting go of the illusion of control. You understand? You're not in control. There's an illusion.
There's an illusion of control.
And physically, you're holding it. Because we have to do everything we can to hold on to it, even though it's an illusion. You logically know it's an illusion, but the small self says, oh, hell no. Hang on, because you might be wrong. So we hang on, and it costs us physically as well as costing us spiritually and intimately. So I would just say, if it's okay for you, to practice just for a couple days, letting go of the illusion of control. And it might start with letting go of control, because right now the illusion of control might be too much. So you can go with the control, and then you see the illusion of it, because nothing's going to change much.
Got it.
If that made sense.
I completely get that. It's the thing that kept coming up for me through the course of this conversation.
And I'm so excited that you got it for yourself. Because what a great thing to let go of. And you know what else is really cool about it? Is if you practice letting go of that, it's connected to everything. So it's like you don't have to mess with every little thing. This is the thing. This is your feeling habit. Your feeling habit, Lance, is that you've got to be in control. And then maybe if you dig a little deeper, you might have an answer to why it's that way and blah, blah, blah. And it could be entertaining, but it will make no difference. Right. What makes the difference is, oh my God, that's it, and it's connected to everything, and I want everything. So I'm going to give that up. Perfect. Awesome, Lance. Thank you so much. Really appreciate hearing your voice. Anybody else? Very good. Well, listen, for everybody who's on the line, I really, really thank you for being here. Thank you for bringing the energy that had the call possible. You know, there's me generating something over here. And I don't know how many of you will really get what I'm going to say, but I mean it, and my heart is completely open when I say it to you. That without you, without the energy you bring, nothing gets generated. I can't tell you the number of times I tried to generate stuff when there was nobody. And it's a lot harder than generating stuff when there's a lot of bodies and people who are really interested and people who have really brought their energy to the game. So thank you. I want you to be completely acknowledged by that. I love you. I appreciate you. I honor you. This call has been recorded. It will be posted on my website for anybody who might want to download it or hear it again. I generally send it out or post it on my newsfeed as well, or my timeline as well. So for those of you who want it, who want to share it, or any of that, feel free to do what you will with it, okay? And next month, it is the third Sunday of the month. And, you know, given I have to do this every month, you'd think I would have that date right in front of me, but I do not. So I'm pulling it up now. So I know, right? Some things just never change, and I'm giving that up. 1, 8. So that is the 18th. Somebody said it for me. Thank you. September 18th. Same time, same phone number. So thank you all. I hope to hear from you next month. Have an extraordinary rest of the night, okay?
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you. I love you, Thomas. Thank you. Love you.
Bye. Bye.